access to the stems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they just like print it through your computer while you're not doing it or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any way to do that.
Yeah, unless you maybe could hook up like multiple machines to each other, or something. But okay, we are
invent that program,
live
though.
on
Oh,
YouTube.
we're live.
So I'm just gonna give a little share online here.
There you go. Ooh, I'm gonna get out of this.
So I got a piece at like 1. So if we don't get through all the clips, we can.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, but
I doubt we will, right?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Ooh. What's this?
We should give each episode like a rating.
Yeah.
Like 1 out of 10, you know? Like,
Yeah.
no, maybe we should do that.
I'm definitely down for that. I mean, it'd be funny because there's certain ones that I just flat out don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not going to be nice if it was like a guest.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, that episode wasn't that good.
Will Habs 1 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, join us live on YouTube. Okay, and then I'm gonna tag you in it. And we're good. All right. And
Do you want to do a clap?
yeah, you're rolling.
Actually, let me just I'll start rolling again just to save that space, and I'll also get out of this window that's gonna get in the way of my shit. Fucking. All right. Lovely. I am rolling. Do you want me to clap?
1 second. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
I was on my side, so
Perfect.
you know, like we were both the same. So
Perfect.
there you go.
Yes.
Sir.
Oh yeah. What's
I think I
happening,
just
everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Music Guy Podcast. It's episode 50. Mike, we've been doing this podcast for, I think, like a good amount over a year now, right?
Yeah. We started August 16th, 2019.
Jeez.
What simple times they were.
Yeah, when you could like go outside and play with your friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, it's been a bit of an anchor for me, a bit of a rock for me during COVID. I think like being able to come back to this every week and have a project to work on when times were kind of slow. We thought it would be a great thing to just celebrate kind of our quote unquote 1 year anniversary, although it's been more like I guess 14 months ish. And, 50 episodes in, here we are still rocking it. So, I mean, thanks to you, my friend, first of all, Michael, for like being on this journey with me and, making me accountable and keeping this whole thing going and being just
accountability buddy.
All around accountability buddy. And
What's that from?
That's from South Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. When they go to a certain camp to pray a certain thing away.
Pray the gay away?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Yeah. So, it's just been so awesome getting together with you and chatting the biz and chatting music industry. I think we both learned a ton and just had a blast doing it. So
It's the only thing in the week that I feel like that I do that like feels productive, because I'm productive, but it doesn't feel productive. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything other than this podcast.
yeah, well, some weeks, yeah, some weeks it's the same for me as well, actually, and it's always a highlight. There's always laughs. There's always a good conversation. So
Most of the time, you know.
yeah, most of the time.
I'm a
So
mess.
yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there to you, my friend. Like, thanks for doing this with
I
me.
fucking
and,
appreciate that. Yeah,
and
thank you.
Let's
For bringing this up, because I always wanted to do a podcast. Like, I loved podcasts, but you know me, like I always wanted to. That doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. You know,
Right.
you're like, we should do a podcast, and I was like, yes, we should.
yeah, yeah, man. It takes that other person to make it a real thing. You know, we've talked about that in the context of songwriting and starting a band and starting a collective of people who are working together. So it's like, you can't do things on your own. You gotta branch out. You've got to have that yin and yang. So
Yeah. We talked about that in another episode. One of us is the yin, one of us is the yang.
oh,
And the
did
question was, who is what though?
Who is who?
And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which color is which too? Which is white
is-
and which is black? You know,
Right.
even in the yin yang sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually know. Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, so here we are, and I mean, here's to 50 more. Let's keep it going. This is a podcast
What else are we
about
gonna
a couple guys working in the music biz. If this is your first episode checking us out, this is actually gonna be a great one to check out, because we're gonna go over the greatest hits. We're gonna hit each episode we've done in the past and just give a quick synopsis about it, maybe comment on what we liked about it, and reminisce a little bit and give everybody just an idea of what this podcast is all about, and maybe there's an episode from our past that you'll be compelled to check out after having listened to this one. So that's sort of the plan for the episode. And I guess, Mike, do you want to talk about sort of what we've got in the works for the future?
That's a good question. I mean, it's all in the fucking air. I mean, there's just plenty of things that you and I have meant to do. One of the things that I was thinking about, and I was talking to Josh Cohen, a former guest, maybe a future guest too, but he was saying you guys should go swing for the fences and maybe try to get some more, some more ambitious guests, some people that it's like, we don't really know you and you're more successful than us, or maybe you're too busy for us.
Yeah.
But let's just message like 20 or 30 of them and see what they say.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's a great idea. And if folks who are listening, like if you're like, man, I would really like to hear more about this person or hear what they have to say about this, like, please reach out to us. Let us know who you want to hear from, and we'll reach out to them. And I mean, I think like it always, I'm always pleasantly surprised with how available people actually are when you're when you come at them, with curiosity and just sort of asking to chat. Like, so I think we should be able to get some pretty sweet people on the show, and more diverse as well. And that was something that we talked about with RJ on episode 39, I believe it was.
It was turned into White Guy Podcast.
Yeah. So
not a good idea.
So we've had a lot of guests lined up over the past handful of episodes, and now that we're sort of at a stage where we need to set up a new batch of guests for future episodes, we're going to make that a priority. So look out for that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Representation matters.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
What else we got? I mean, just the little things here, like more questions from you guys. One of the big things that I'm excited about, one of my favorite episodes to do was the agenda episode. That was one of the best times I've had.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Not even on a podcast, just in general.
Generally
the last
speaking.
like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then like more songs of the week too, We're not going to do one this week because we have many things to do.
Yeah, this is a jam-packed episode, but every week we do feature a song from an independent artist, an original piece of music. It could be any genre. If you've got some music that you want to have featured on the show, send it our way, musicguypodcast@gmail.com, and we would love to play it on the show. You can also send us questions to the same email, and we would love to feature those on the show as well. Yeah, send them both together as one email or two separate.
There you go. I
It's
like
really-
one email would be efficient.
One would
you
be
know?
preferred, yeah, but
Yeah,
you
you
know.
don't want to waste emails.
we'll roll with the punches. You know, that's what we do
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Why don't we jump into the episodes?
Fuck yeah.
We're gonna skim out, well, not skim over, but quickly hit some of the earliest ones that we did, and then we'll move into. I think after episode 14 or so, we actually have audio clips that we're gonna be jumping into to really dive into the episode. So,
Yeah.
let me just pull up my handy dandy list of things here. So, episode 1, titled "About the Guys." This was sort of like a biographical episode for us, and we're just sort of went through. I mean, this was our first even attempt at a podcast episode. We just sort of went through how we got our start in the industry, sort of who we are, what we're about, what we do. We talked about music school, how we both went to Humber College, and sort of discussed whether or not we felt it was worthwhile for everybody to do. We talked a little bit about networking, building a team, and we actually did kind of a deep dive on Mike on overcoming anxiety, which is something you have a lot of experience with, and it's something that we touched on in episodes recently.
You know who has anxiety as well? The fucking dude who plays Captain America.
Oh yeah,
Blows my mind. That happens all the time. I'm reading about someone successful performer.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, they have anxiety. Fuck yeah.
What's his name?
I can do this.
Chris Evans. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you have anxiety and have that many muscles and be that handsome?
Mm-hmm. Tell you what, man, it's a powerful thing. But it can
I don't
be
remember
overcome.
anything about this episode.
I do, because I remember editing it very
there you go.
very meticulously. Like, I think one of the things I remember most about the show early on was just how much work it was to edit the podcasts. But now, as we've gotten a little bit smoother with the flow of things, it has become a little bit easier to edit them. But so if you're interested in just learning about us and sort of hearing us bumble our way through the very first episode ever, that's episode 1. Do you want to hit up episode 2?
Yeah. So episode 2 is like our first sort of like functional episode where we're like trying to teach something. It's like it's pretty much 8 tips for backup vocals. I mean, we just sort of rant on about, how to be a better backup singer. The funny thing is, half of these, or 75% of these, I have no idea about before the episode. So, like, I mean, from what I remember, because I'm a bad student, is like we gave tips like learn the lead vocal line properly, so that when you're singing harmony, you're not singing like harmony mostly right. Most of the time I'll learn sort of the general outline of the melody, but if it scoops up to this note, you need to scoop up with it, that sort of thing. That's important. I mean, there's tons of things like we do mic technique, and we talk about consonants. So if that's something that interests you, if you're a backup singer or want to be a backup singer, I think it was pretty good. I mean, I think we were starting to get the hang of it then.
Yeah.
Did I edit that one? Were we doing every other one at that point?
I think we were. Yeah, I believe you did edit that one.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about it at all.
I remember.
What do you remember?
Well, no, I think everything that you just said was what it was. It was a deeper dive on just some singer kind of tips for people who maybe don't fancy themselves singers, but it's like, here's some ways to sort of get into the backup vocal game. And I mean, the most important sentiment of all was like, get into the backup vocal game, because it's going to get you way more work, even if you're not an excellent singer by any means. Like, you can get something you can get better at. It's something you can practice, and if you sort of throw yourself into the fire, and that's another sort of sentiment that is echoed throughout all the episodes we do. But it's like, if you throw yourself into the fire, if you just say, yeah, I can do that, I'll do that, yeah, I'll do that, even if you're like, I don't know if I can do that, you figure it out.
Yep.
So, yeah, I remember hearing you edit that episode actually from when we were living together, and like I would hear your voice over your speakers and think that you were like talking to me from across the hall, and I'd be like, "What?" And then I realized you were editing a podcast. So episode.
What is this next one?
Yeah, episode 3. This is one that I think would be really great to go back to and check out, especially if you've checked out our most recent episode about learning a song by ear. This is episode 3, Bare Bones Music Theory. So we were just talking about how to sort of think about music on a theoretical level, just some very basic theory concepts. I think theory is a pretty scary word to a lot of players who like maybe didn't go to school or didn't do RCM or whatever, Royal Conservatory of Music, when they were growing up, or wherever you happen to be growing up. And sort of just really breaking it down to like the major scale and the chord scale and the Nashville number system. And I think we also talked about the Cage system for guitar, whereby
very important.
by learning how to play in the key of C, A, G, E, and D, you can, by using a capo or by using different bar chord shapes, you can essentially play in any key for any song. So really some really good information there in terms of just, learning how to communicate with your fellow bandmates a little bit more easily. And if you ever wonder what the heck people are talking about when they said 1-4-5, you'll find out in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about it too, I remember being excited. This is kind of one of the things that I'm excited to teach my students when they want to go there, or just like people. It's like the kind of stuff that if I'm working with someone, I wish that they knew, because things would be so much easier for them. It's like music theory is, you only learn as much as you need, right? And like we just went through what is the things that pretty much everyone will need, I was really excited about that one. I think that was the first one where we were starting to hit our stride too. I think I said that about the last one, but we're making it happen. What's the next one? Sorry, I'm behind here. I gotta rush through these.
Yeah. So episode 4 was Conversations with the Agenda. This is I think when we really started to hit our stride,
Oh yeah. This is iconic.
So we were all we were in the midst of doing a run of Christmas concerts. So this was or rehearsal.
Was it Christmas or Magna Hoedown?
Sorry, right, Magna Hoedown. Right, because this is in September.
Christmas in September.
Christmas was a few months away still. So yeah, we all met up in a hotel room in the Newmarket area, and you brought a big Digio 2 8-input interface, if I recall.
Yes.
And set up classic piece of gear.
SM58s
vintage
for all.
Even. Yeah, bunch of 58s, bunch of cables everywhere, a couple of vodka sodas, and we just hung out and just talked. Not a very scripted episode. We just sort of chatted about what we do as a production team and as a musical sort of group and band, and just had some laughs and hung out and chatted. And I thought, it was one of the most difficult episodes to edit. I'll say that, because there's so many microphones and just a lot of stuff to parse through. But one of the most
there was plenty of things that we said is like, you can't.
Plenty of things got snapped for sure. But one of the most fun episodes to do.
We got to do that again. That's good. That's got to happen again.
And it actually, kind of connects into episode 5, which I think we split it into 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And so the conversation continues in episode 5, but we're joined by Tom Cross, who's a music manager handling the artist Beverly Mahood and Lace back in the 90s, Kenny Munshaw, Leah Daniels. Tom's worked with David Foster. He's got a storied career, and he's a great hang, a great guy to talk to, and has a lot of wisdom, but also like a lot of insight into what is working now. So
he walked in the door too. Like we were doing the Agenda podcast. Yeah. And, he walked in the door. He's like, "Oh, are you guys doing a podcast?" And we're like, "Yeah, just come fucking hang."
Yeah.
And it was like probably like we probably talked between the agenda and him for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was a lot.
And well, I think he was tipped off to the fact that we were doing a podcast by Will, and then he pretended to just kind of happen upon our.
I fucking love that though.
Oh yeah, it was so awesome.
We should have Tom on as a guest, like officially.
That would be a great thing to do as well. Yeah, yep. And Beverly as well. We still have yet to have Beverly on the show.
Yes, Beverly's a great hang. So we have the next one being what you should know about recording, which is almost the recording equivalent of the bare bones music theory thing. It's like you don't know anything about recording, or maybe you kind of do, but like you don't know what you're missing in terms of stuff. You're a beginner, and we kind of just, went on about like stuff you should know, but also stuff that you should know about, like the bigger budget stuff. If you're like an artist and you're like, paying for these things like mixing and mastering and recording, it's like, what are these things? What's involved in them? What to expect. So you can be like a little bit more informed, maybe in how you're paying. I don't know if we mentioned money. Did we? I have no idea. I don't remember these things. It was, yeah. It was
I think it was more to do with.
It was a year and a month ago.
Yeah, I think it was more to do with like, what do these terms actually mean? What are the expectations? What is this person's job? What is my producer's job? What is the mixing engineer's job? And how can we better understand these roles so that we can work better with these people if we're musicians on the job or artists trying to record? And what can we learn from each role and incorporate ourselves to either make the process faster or maybe save ourselves a little bit of money or time or both?
This next one is quite funny. So there was a month-long hiatus because of a certain thing in this next episode. So we did what you should know about recording, and then the next episode is home recording on a budget. And we didn't post one for a month because we had bed bugs.
Yes.
Remember that?
Our place was getting fumigated. I was on tour. Yeah. things were getting
good time.
Things were getting a little hairy, so we didn't get an episode in for quite a while, but so this was more of a specific sort of episode where we'd gone over the overview of what the recording process involves. And then this one was like, how can you do all those things yourself and spend as little money as possible? So we actually get into talking about some gear and some software and some approaches where you can really, I mean, now more than ever, and I'm, not the first person to say this, but like you can do all the recording stuff from home with a laptop, one microphone, and a little interface. And so this episode is a real deep dive on how to accomplish that.
And we have a list.
Yes.
In the show notes on the actual website, musicguidepodcast.com. Episode 7, we have a download of the gear list of what you talk about, so what you could look on, or you could, I'm pretty sure we include like a used price and a new price. One thing to consider as well too, if you listen to Billie Eilish's first and second record, I don't think she has a third yet. Those are done in a bedroom with her brother.
There you go.
And they're massive, so you could do this. And they don't have expensive gear. That family was not a wealthy family. Her parents actually, they bought a 2-bedroom house and they slept in the living room their entire lives so that Billie and her brother could have a bedroom each.
Wow.
So they're not wealthy.
Jeez. Well, There you go. So you too
I'm recording on a budget.
Can be
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. Just by listening to our podcast.
Yes.
How amazing is that?
This next one is kind of, I don't really remember anything about the next one. It's a Q&A episode. It's our first Q&A episode. So, we wouldn't remember what's in it. I remember it was fun. We had lots of questions because it was our first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we've done a handful of these now, and they're always some of the most fun episodes to do. And we'll have another in the near future, I would expect. So if if you like a little bit of variety, a little bit of tomfoolery, some hot takes, some burning questions,
Takes.
go back
I like
to
burning questions.
episode 8, Q&A number 1.
This is
Yeah.
a side note, but so do you listen to the Spittin' Chicklets podcast?
Occasionally I do, yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever
occasionally I
tried
do.
Pink Whitney?
Yes.
It's real dangerous.
It's disgusting.
I had it the other day.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's disgusting.
Side. If you pop some bubbly in that,
Yeah.
like not champagne, but actual bubbly.
Okay.
My buddy was like doing that. Like I went over to his house the other day and, he was mixing like, half Pink Whitney, half bubbly.
Yeah.
And like it was like a shot and a half in each. And I had like 4 of those in maybe like an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is really good. Like, like this must not be much percent, but it's 35%.
Yeah.
I got real fucked up.
Yeah, and then the next day you probably had a throbbing headache and couldn't see. And that's
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of almost vodka water, so it was pretty good. Every so often with hangovers, you kind of cheat the devil.
Oh yeah, you weren't too bad. Yeah, that stuff's gross. I've had it a couple times. As soon as I tasted it, I was like, yeah, this is not something I can continue to
I'm
drink.
gonna make you a Pink Whitney and bubbly.
Hangover in a glass. Yeah. Light beer,
But,
man. Sticking to.
Really?
I'm an old guy.
You're fucking old
Yeah,
as shit.
I'm an old guy now. I get it. I get it now. I get light beer now.
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah. I'm a vodka water guy.
Vodka
and
water.
That is like
Vodka
uber
soda.
light beer.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's just the alcohol
Yeah.
and water.
Yeah. Or
And
like a nice glass of wine or whatever. But even like, man, you get a couple glasses of wine in you and it's time for
bad
bed.
hangover, man.
It's time for bed.
Lots
Ain't
of
got a
sugar,
hangover.
man.
Unless it's a good high quality wine, yeah.
Really, I did not.
Yeah, the
know
higher.
that.
Well, I mean, any alcohol, like the higher quality it is, the less. I mean, if you drink enough of it, you're gonna get sick. But like, it won't give you as much of a hangover. Yeah.
That being said, speaking of, I don't know fancy things, because I was gonna say that I don't know your fancy wine things. I'm a cheap man.
Yeah.
And the next episode, I was real jacked up about. I was the expert on this one.
Yeah.
It was let's talk about money.
Yeah.
With an exclamation mark.
Yeah.
Which is super cringe. I love it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we just talked about we talked about not just being cheap, but that was like my contribution. Like I think we even went through my diet.
Is
I'm
that the one
pretty
where we
sure.
did that one? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I can eat for $38 Canadian a week, and I eat like a king. And I eat like a king who eats a lot of food that's not very tasty.
Yeah. Right.
But other than that, we talked about how to not negotiate, but like how the rules are set with money and how to not be shady about money as a musician, and it was good.
Yeah, tried to debug the best we could, like the whole process of getting paid to do what you do, and just sort of try not to be weird about it. I remember I was kind of I was kind of grumpy, I feel, that day. I remember listening back to that episode
Really?
and being like, I don't know if I came across the best. But-
Whatever.
But the
Some of our real ones, it's been like, man, Mike, you're real negative. I've been doing the clips. And I'm like, man, Mike, you're going through a rough time. And
oh dear, oh man, we'll hear some of those, I guess, coming up shortly.
yeah, we will.
Number 10 was a mixing audio. This was when we did the 10-step mix series,
On
which
YouTube?
which I still get feedback from the odd time, which is great. So hopefully it's been a really good resource for people, and this is available in the show notes of this episode, I'm pretty sure. Let me just double
And on
check
the
that.
YouTube channel.
Yep. And of course,
I just
on
sent
our
this to
YouTube.
someone actually.
Yeah.
I sent someone was asking about particularly the way you mix. Like, oh, I don't know how he gets that sounding like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
he has a video.
Here it is. Here's all of my settings, and there's a template file you can download if you're a Pro Tools user, and we just break down the mixing process into 10 steps, and I think it's been super helpful for the folks who have checked it out, and I think it's been super helpful for me personally just to put into words what the process is, and then to go back and sort of be like, okay, yeah. I think when you actually sort of formulate your ideas, you sort of learn from that process and get better at the thing that you're trying to teach.
Do you think
yourself.
you got better at guitar by teaching guitar? I think I did.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it's the same with mixing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
I mean,
if you're interested in a deeper dive in the mixing world, and this is all in the box, by the way, I don't use any expensive
you don't whip out the Neve.
outboard gear. I do have a
have-
Neve clone preamp for my microphone.
There you go. But you don't have like a Neve console that's filled with bed bugs
Correct.
because
yeah,
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 bed bugs,
exactly.
fun times.
Yeah, no. There's no. This is a very budget friendly sort of thing. And
That's everything we do.
Of course, man. We're conscious of
cheap
that
as fuck.
stuff.
I think you and me, like, we get along in that way really well in many ways, but like a lot of people that I meet financially, they when they talk about money, I'm like, I'm just gonna tune this out, because I remember one person I was talking to, obviously they weren't a musician. They're like, yeah, $80,000 a year, it's hard to live on that. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you buying for $80,000 a year? I could feed like 4 Michael Hebbses. Anyways, the next episode is episode 11, songwriting, which I don't remember at all, and I'm not a good songwriter, so I should probably listen to this.
Yeah, like we just talked about the songwriting process, how to improve as a craft. I think that there's a common misconception with songwriting, somewhat similar to singing, I think, where people are just like, well, you're either good at it or you're not. You know,
Sure.
It's all it's a mystical kind of talent that some people have it, some people don't. And I mean,
speaks to you.
It's a craft just like anything else. You spent 10,000 hours learning how to play guitar. You're probably pretty darn good at it. If you do the same with songwriting, you can get better at that as well. So just sort of some tips on how to improve as a songwriter. We talk a lot about co-writing and how much you can sort of level up your songwriting game by working with others. Writer's block and how to break through that. And then we do get into a little bit of nitty-gritty stuff in terms of how writing credits splits work. If you're interested in learning about how to register your songs properly such that you will get some credit and royalties should they generate any money through SOCAN,
which they probably won't.
or whatever your affiliates are in your country of residence, then there's also a lot of information for that in episode 11, songwriting.
There's people who do it for a living, so something there.
Definitely. People who've made millions
of
dollars.
This next one's kind of funny. Deadbeat Guy podcast.
Episode 12, yeah.
This is like the first one that was like, we'd hit our stride, and like, well, I don't want to say we'd hit our stride. I'm sure we haven't even yet. We'll be way better like 50 more episodes from now. Yeah. But and then we were just like, let's do like a real lighthearted one that has nothing to do with music.
Yeah.
And I think that was it.
Just off topic. I think it was mostly about gaming.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Or just like, here's what we like to do when we're not musicking, because sometimes it's fun to not talk shop. And then we did try to tie it all back into how it does relate to our careers. But mostly we're just talking about our favorite video games.
Was this the first time that we mentioned, at some point, like there are certain concepts that like ring throughout all of our episodes, and the idea of like a marathon instead of a sprint? I don't know if this was the first episode, but I remember that became a thing. We were like, it's, your career is a marathon, not a sprint. You can't burn yourself out. That might have been a different episode, because we always talk about that with your work effort, but also too with your finances.
Yeah, totally. I'm not 100% sure if this was the one we did that, but we did use some like some theoretical concepts from like games like poker, and of course Magic the Gathering. If anybody knows me, play a bit of that game.
This is prior to your streaming.
It was prior to streaming. That's true. But we do sort of extrapolate some of those theoretical concepts and apply them to career and life. And I think it's a very interesting topic of conversation, because I'm a huge nerd. So if you are too, check it out. Episode 12.
Fuck yeah.
Go ahead.
It looks like this next one is also lighthearted as well.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember this one quite well. Yeah,
Yeah,
episode
I don't
13.
remember
This was our New Year's episode. This was when we said goodbye to 2019, which was actually a heck of a year for both of us career wise, especially in comparison to 2020. But at the time, we didn't know that, so we were like, middle finger to 2019, bring on 2020. Here's
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So we did our favorite, sort of listed our favorites episodes, favorite songs, favorite albums, favorite memories of 2019, and then our most embarrassing moments, worst songs of 2019, worst albums of 2019, and just sort of had some fun.
About 2019?
Is there anything I don't? You know what I will say, and this is the most like, I don't know what this is. It's like I feel I'm grateful by saying it, but I did a wedding gig a couple nights ago, and this is like the first wedding gig I've done. This is one of 2 wedding gigs I've done since March 13th or whatever that fateful day was. Yeah. And I was packing up gear. I was doing AV and playing as part of a trio, and it was a great day. Everybody was super cool. The wedding guests and everybody were super, super nice, and it just went smoothly. It was just a great gig. But I'm packing up my gear at like 12:30. Got an hour and a half drive ahead of me, and I was just like, I'm not used to this anymore. I don't know if I can do this, man.
Yeah.
But no, I was super, super happy to have the work, and it was just like a reminder of like, this is what it used to be like. So, you know, if you
hopefully what it will be.
Hopefully you will get to be this tired again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
true. That.
What about you? What do
I not miss?
Not miss about 2019?
I mean, I'm sure there's something clever I could say. I just don't. I don't know what that is. 2019 was great.
It was. It was a very good year for us. Yeah.
First bit of 2022 seemed very promising.
Hey, you know, I don't miss not having a podcast in the earlier parts of 2019.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
How about that?
That's true.
So let's dive into the next. So at this point, we were getting smart enough that we decided to make a clip of each episode so that we could post it on social media. So we're actually going to play that for you right now. This is episode 14. I think you were kind of alluding to this a little bit earlier. This is called Living on the Cheap. And I'm just going to pull up the clip here, which I'm so pro. I just had it ready, and I'm definitely not stalling at all.
Oh,
here it is.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about living on the cheap.
I'm a pro at this.
You are, and I'm very interested to hear all your strategies and thoughts about how to spend as little money as possible. And when you're in a career like ours where the income is a little bit inconsistent at times, to say the least, and there's not a ton of income coming in general, you got to make certain sacrifices, and you got to be extra diligent about how much money you're spending and be realistic about how much money is coming in.
Also, too, I feel like I'm always, because I'm a sociopath, self-admitted. No, I'm always looking for advantages, you know, over like what are the things that will get me ahead? And one of them is not having to make as much money as someone else. Someone who has to, you know, work their like a day job, and they have.
There was episode 14, Living on the Cheap.
Self-professed sociopath.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think I'm a narcissist, not a sociopath.
Okay.
You know, but.
Yes.
But, I mean, so that's the episode I thought the money one was. The money one was specifically about, you know, money in the music industry. This one is specifically about my expertise being cheap as fuck.
Yeah. And we talk about how to save, I think we get into a little bit of investing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we do. We did.
Yep. And just to sort of, just tips that we have on how we do manage our finances so that we can enjoy the career that we enjoy. Because at the end of the day, we're all doing this for the love of the game. You know what I mean? And you know, a lot of a lot of people don't have jobs that they love, but you know, we all work because we need the money. So here's how you can sort of live on the cheap.
Also, like it's one of the first times we mentioned the idea of if you have savings and if you're smart with your money, you can be more flexible by taking the gigs you want to take instead of taking the gigs you have to take.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point too.
That was a really big thing. I think you might have brought that up originally, but
and just
that's all I remember.
Yeah, but just to highlight again, like how effective your budgeting is. How much it costs you to eat? $38 a week.
$38 a week, baby.
Yeah. And there's
That's
actually
if you're vegetarian. 48 if you eat meat.
There's a spreadsheet and a list of all the groceries and the meal plans and everything too. So if you really want to get deep into it, there's a lot of information there. So
want to live the Michael Hebbs dream?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, who doesn't? So let's jump into episode 15 here. Oh no, maybe this was the one where we did a bit more of the investment stuff. This one's called Retirement Grease. Yeah, this is more the investment one. So sorry, these are kind of blurring together for me. But let's hear a little clip from episode 15, Retirement Grease. If you're a Simpsons fan,
I think you're like me also in the sense of it's not even music per se. It's like just retiring in general. I think that would be me dying. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like if I just stopped doing, like, I love music, but if I just stopped doing things, it was like, I'm going to go on a bunch of vacations and eat really terribly.
And just start playing golf.
Yeah. I could never see myself playing golf.
Right.
I'd rather just die.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't see myself retiring either. But the whole thing is, what are we going to do around that time that people would retire? Because your body starts to suck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that I still would want to be engaging with music every day, like I am right now. But there's definitely, certain aspects of this career. All right,
I haven't changed my opinion.
That's a 15, Retirement Grease. Would rather die than retire. Mike Hebbs.
Or play golf.
I like golf, actually. It's good exercise.
That's because you're old now.
That's true. So, yeah, we did talk about sort of what's sustainable, what's not, in terms of like, if you're gigging every weekend, staying out super late, like you're not gonna be able to do that as you get older, right? So like, how can you maintain a music career later in life? What are we doing to prepare for the future financially and otherwise? Setting up sort of side hustles and getting in more into the studio, doing this podcast, and starting to rely a little bit less on stuff like bar gigs, and just making sure that we have a little bit of a plan for the future. You don't have to be super nitty gritty about it, but just having an idea for like, hey, I can't bust it till 2 a.m. every night when I'm even in your 30s, man. I'm starting to wear me down sometimes. So
starting to turn the corner.
Yeah,
just like COVID.
So check it out. 15, Retirement Grease. You want to talk about this next one?
Yeah, this is another one that I was kind of pumped to talk about because I've had so many of them. Injuries, episode 16.
Right on.
And I remember very clearly being like, we are not doctors.
Yeah, you said that
not medical
every
advice.
few minutes on this show for sure. Yeah.
I don't want somebody to listen to my advice.
Here's a clip, episode 16, about injuries. I mean, I think we can sort of touch on some injuries that other instrumentalists might deal with, and then sort of some general thoughts and
our experience with getting treatment, right?
And solutions and things like that.
That being said, we aren't doctors, but we've been to a lot of them in the sense of like just our experiences with getting the best care from a doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because that was the biggest challenge for me.
Hey, that was a well-edited clip. I think I really summarized what the episode's all about.
The episode.
There's the word. There it
I'm
is.
torn between with the clips, editing them to be like the most amusing to grab the most, because these are from our Instagram, right?
Yes.
The most amusing to grab people and be like, oh, these guys are cool. or is it like we should sum up the episode? You know, it's a tug of war.
It's tough. I mean, I'm definitely not cool, so.
I am not cool either, but we have an hour or two of speaking, and something in the's got to be decent.
It ought to be funny. Something got to funny happen. That
nice
sense
little
didn't make
typo
sense.
here. It's probably me.
Yeah.
Exorcises.
Ah. Nice.
I'm not gonna change it.
No.
It's there forever.
God no. Episode 17. Episode 17. We moved into another Q&A episode. Now, did we have any specific actual questions that we got to? Oh yeah, there's a list of all kinds of stuff.
We're organized now.
Yeah, wow, we really stepped it up in our show notes. So we talk about social media, how important it is or not. Playing other people's songs instead of writing your own if you're an artist. Talk a little bit about Final Fantasy VI, greatest RPG game of all time.
Great score.
Yeah, we talked about the first songs we learned, how we warm up before shows, our dream gig, which artists we'd love to play with, living or dead. How to pace your live show. Talk about the worst gigs we've ever done. Go-to electric and acoustic guitars for recording. Whether or not we would take those guitars to a gig on the road. And how to become a music producer without going to school. So a lot of
There's a secret bonus question at the end too.
yeah, I have no idea what that's about.
Me neither.
Check
It's
it
probably
out.
pretty funny.
Check it out and you'll find.
You mentioned it.
You'll find it you'll find it there. All right, let's jump to 18. This is our episode.
Only episode that I wasn't around for.
That's true. Yeah, I was on a gig playing with an artist named Genevieve Fisher, who you and I have both worked with. You've played with her as well, right?
I don't think I've played with her.
You haven't
I've
done.
just been around her. She's a very
Did you
nice
not do
lady.
an acoustic? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. You did an acoustic thing with.
Maybe it was well.
So Jen's a heck of a singer and a songwriter, and just a wonderful person to work with and to play music with. And so I was on a gig with Jen, and I went out to St. Thomas to her beautiful home out there near London, Ontario. And we sat down and did an episode. Here's a little bit of a clip from the episode with Genevieve Fisher, number 18.
When I released 1943, the song that I wrote about my Nana, I was like, you know what? I don't even know if this is going to do well on radio, but I don't really give a shit because I love this song. It's me. It's who I am. I love my Nana. I think that this song deserves to be heard by everybody. And just advice. Be humble. Be kind. Be you. Like, don't try to play it up like you're someone you're not, because you're not going to go anywhere if you're not you.
Truer words never been spoken.
Great. That's a great clip.
Yeah.
Great gal.
Yeah, and we do get into a lot of that stuff about writing and who you want to be as an artist and how Jen got her start. And she's complete independent, not signed to a label, but still playing gigs alongside artists who are. She's had multiple top, let me just get the stats here, multiple top 20 and top 50 singles at Canadian Country Radio. So, you know, if you're looking to get your start as a country artist in Canada or abroad, Jen's a great I could not recommend a better role model to look up to than Genevieve Fisher. So check that episode out, 18.
I have an interesting thing. So you're saying country music abroad, and so I do wonder. So say for instance in Japan, blues music is huge. I wonder when country music is going to hit like Japan, because I think a part of the blues music is like American, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like that becomes something almost like, I'm going to sound like Andy Scott, fetishizes.
That is an Andy Scott word, isn't it?
But I wonder when country is going to be that thing, because country is very American as well, and also doesn't have as much of a troubled appropriation background. It still does.
Yeah. Well, I know it's pretty big in like Australia, for example.
Yeah.
So I mean, we went to Shanghai with Nicole Ray, to play a world music festival in Shanghai, China. So, for other countries, country music is world music to them, right? So you go over there and play, and people really get a kick out of it. So I think you could, and now with the globalization and the internet and being able to sort of be everywhere by being online, you could definitely start a country music career outside of the U.S. or Canada. Absolutely, yeah.
This next episode seems, I don't want to say it's a less good version of a very recent episode we did. What was the last episode that we did?
We're talking about learning a song quickly? Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to listen to episode 19, Prepping for Gigs, which, I mean, it goes on the stuff that we this is our first sort of crack at it. I think it's a little bit more detailed as in like the process, whereas the last episode we did, which would be episode 49, if I'm not mistaken, that is like the actual like method, right?
30 episodes later, we actually went through how we did it. We pulled out our guitars, we put a song on, and we learned it. So yeah, but 19.
First time on the podcast, yeah.
Well, let's have a listen. Let's have a look back into the past here. Episode 19, Prepping for Gigs. Here it is.
I have one thing.
Wrap it up, yeah.
I want to talk about how garbage my memory is. I'm gonna give you an example. So, heading down west to the land of the pines. Something my thumb down in North Carolina. Something.
Thumbing my way.
There you go. And something about headlights. That's it. That's all I know. And I know Rock Me Mama like a wagon wheel.
Yeah.
Rock Me Mama any way you feel.
Yeah.
Something.
But have you ever performed that song vocally?
It's come up a lot. You know what I mean? People have been like, you don't know the lyrics to the verse.
Yeah, but why would you know that if you haven't sung it before?
I've been playing that song for 6 years in bars, not singing the verse.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. That's all I know of any verse, or if there's a bridge. There's no bridge. It's like a chill.
Yeah. I mean, testament to preparation right there.
There you go.
Yeah. No, that was a fun episode, and I think just sort of highlights the concept also of like the level of preparation that you need for certain gigs. Like we talk about low resolution and high resolution learning for songs.
Yeah.
And just sort of how to approach a 40-song bar set versus how to approach an 8-song artist gig, and what you need to make sure you know, and sort of what you can get away with not knowing if it's a ton of material, and how to compress that and make it manageable rather than sort of tearing your hair out trying to learn every detail for a gig that you just don't need to go that far.
Well, they wouldn't appreciate those details.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even know that you learned them.
And you don't want to burn yourself out. Episode 20 was a really good one, actually. This is one that I've gotten still even to this day a ton of positive feedback on. I sat down with friend of the show, member of the agenda, Mark Rinkin, to talk wedding band coordination. So this is a little bit more of a how would I say, like a technical episode, but not in the gear sense, but just more in the band management and gig management sense. Mark's the music director for Stereo Flavor, which is getting to be a pretty darn big wedding band outfit in the Toronto area. Let's listen to a little bit of this one, episode 20.
Talk a little bit about the day of coordination, because it's all done through Google Calendar, Google Docs, right? So I'll get an invite to a gig. It's a Google Calendar event or whatever, and I click on that. And then there's sort of a rundown explanation of what my responsibilities are in terms of what I need to invoice you guys for and all that kind of stuff. But then within that is the event sheet, which is a Google Doc, which is sort of a living document that gets updated as time passes between whoever is the quote-unquote day of coordinator, which could be somebody like Devin or one of your admin people, who are communicating with the client and coming up with this very, very detailed schedule, and they're communicating with the venue as well, right?
Yep.
Coming up with a schedule of when the load-in is, where we need to be at what time, what's required for audio, what the set list is, what the requests are.
So in true Al fashion, I'm just not letting my guests talk at all. But
Well, in true Mike Hebbs fashion, all the clips that I've edited is like mostly me.
yeah, right.
I've gotten better at that.
Yeah.
This one pairs really well with the Devin Potter episode 37. She
Yes.
is it the I don't know what her
She's the
what's her
CEO.
official-
I think
The
she's
CEO?
I think she's the CEO of Stereo Flavor. Yeah, if I'm
she
not
does
mistaken.
she does managing as well.
Yeah.
Like she manages Stereo Flavor.
Yeah,
like
she kind of just runs the
great.
business. Yeah. Yes.
She runs shit. That's
Yeah.
what she does.
So that one is just sort of like how a successful wedding band is run, how much communication exists between the admin side. They have an entire admin team, and the musical side and the client, and just how they have everything organized and set up and what's working so well for them. So if you're interested in venturing into the wedding scene, or you're curious about how that comes together, or if you're a person looking for a band to play at your wedding, look no further than Stereo Flavor. And that's a nice episode
They are great.
to peer into the world of just how organized they are, and the attention to detail that exists there.
The
So
first
it's a good one.
mention, I believe, of the living document.
The living
Which goes-
document.
We reference that. I mean, there are many references in this podcast. There are many like concepts, just like that idea of the marathon versus the jog, and the living document is among them. Very important. Very important.
Crucial.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You want to hit this next one?
Yeah. So this was an interesting one because I remember I brought it up to you, and you're like, I don't know if I have anything to talk about with this. But it's funny because I think it's a less structured episode. It's more like just a discussion of the idea of a musical genius, you know. So like what does it mean to be a genius? What does it take to be talented? You know, do you think talent is a real thing? And I'm kind of skeptical of it.
Right.
And then like, is someone who, if they had no talent, you know, if it exists, could they become a genius? I really like thinking about these things because I also really like worrying about them, apparently.
Here's a little clip from 21 here. Musical genius examined.
One thing that I want to talk about as well, too, is situations that perhaps do influence somebody's almost like talent or genius level. So you meet kids who started gigging when they were like 14, and those kids are just better than kids who practiced a bunch. Or say, for instance,
That's
the
a
fact
great point.
that you're able to gig all the time. Those gigs make you a better musician. You get the work. That work makes you better. This is one of the things I noticed with Will. Not to knock on Will because I was garbage at this point, but he just took as many finals as he could final for performances or like just for marks. And he was like, I'll just do it for free. And he learned the stuff really well. And he got known as the rock guy. He wasn't particularly anything special at that point, but he started getting a bunch of gigs. And he rose to the occasion of those gigs. Those gigs taught him things about what he needed to learn. And he got more gigs. The gigs made him even better. He found you guys as a group. I feel like if he didn't find you, he wouldn't be as good because you guys.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. Yet again, another Michael Hebbs clip.
Yeah, no, and a great one too. Just sort of saying it's like there's so much that goes into somebody's story, like where they came from, how they got to where they are, and just the difference between real world experience and where that leads you versus
Sitting in the
shedding in the basement, which is important as well. But it's like you got to get out there. That's something that's I don't know if it's said enough. It's still said all the time, but I don't know if it's said enough. It's like
explained.
you got to get out there. You want to have a podcast? You want to get good at making podcasts? Start making them. You know,
Yeah.
you want to play music? Start playing. Get out there. Play some gigs. Don't be afraid. Don't be like, I'm not ready yet. It's like you're never ready. I'm never like I'm never gonna be like, you know, fully evolved musician Pokemon. Do you know what I mean?
You're gonna
Like,
be Charizard.
yeah, I'm never gonna be a Charizard musician. Like I'm always, you know, Charmander, maybe Charmeleon some of the time.
There you go.
You know, but then
Sometimes I
I
feel like Charmeleon.
take a couple steps back sometimes, you know? Back to little Charmander, got to figure it out, you know? You're always working, you're always developing, and if you don't get out there, you know, you're going to be missing those skills, and you're going to be missing the ride, man. You're going to be missing the journey. That's what it's about. So,
True dat, true dat.
beautiful little clip there.
This is the next one is I feel like a rig rundown, which it's kind of funny. This is like one of Al's quintessential rants.
Oh yeah,
And he rants about how we always say I feel like, and I'm sure we've said it many
Millennial
times.
phrase. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, are we millennials?
Yes,
is that
we
what we are?
Yep, 100%.
I think I asked this question on the podcast.
We're right in.
talking
We're
about.
right in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Right in the pocket. But yeah, we say I feel like all the time, and we're big bitches for it. I don't remember exactly the explanation, but it was sound. It was good. It's
Yeah.
worth listening to.
Here's a clip. Boy howdy, I'll tell you, I have not used an analog guitar pedal other than my TU2,
Yeah.
my tuner, and I have not used an amp in, it's got to be well over a year, because
Yeah.
I am rocking the Line 6 Helix HX Stomp, which is the
Also rocking
small
one.
version of the full floorboard Helix.
They have a rack too. I was looking at it.
And rack, all that stuff. It's all the same brains. You can just get it in different sizes with different amounts of control over what's happening. And you just got the HX Stomp as well.
Yes.
So basically what this does for folks who aren't familiar, it's sort of an all-encompassing unit. You may have heard of the Kemper or the Axe effects from years past. The Line 6 is all the rage. It's affordable. This
It's like
box is like
$800.
$800.
Yeah.
And 800, that might sound like a lot, but this is all your pedals and your amp.
Yes.
So we did do a rundown of each of our sort of rigs and what kind of gear we're using, and that was me singing the praises of the Stomp, which, hey, let me tell you, I just played the wedding that I was talking about. I was going to bring my amp because it was like a trios, like a small setting. We weren't really using in-ears or anything. We were just sort of set up in the corner, a couple little PA speakers for vocals, nice quiet show. And it was like, yeah, it'd be nice to have an amp just to sort of, you know, feel it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I went to load up my car, and there was just too much gear. Like, I forgot how much gear you have to bring, even for a smaller gig. And I was like, I was giving Anthony, the DJ, a ride as well. So we had a little bit of equipment as well. And I've just got like a little hatchback car. And I was like, there's no way my amp is going to fit. So I guess I'm going to have to, you know, play through the Stomp. And it's like, okay, well, the PA is not that big. Like, is it still going to be good? We're monitoring off of like a little 10-inch speaker. So we're not using ears. We're not going to hear like the full range. Man, it still sounded sick. And like Rich was saying, I was like, man, your tone was really good. I was like, dude, it's the Stomp, baby.
Stomp, baby.
So,
Line 6, I think we mentioned in this episode, we were like, if Line 6 could just sponsor us.
yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why I made that clip. I like tagged Line 6. I'm like, hopefully they see this.
This will be it. This will blow us
This will
up.
be it.
Yeah.
I used the picture I used for that clip too was, you know, in Game of Thrones, because I used a GIF for each clip.
Yeah.
In Game of Thrones, when he's like, not with 10,000 men could you do this.
Yeah.
And I just crossed out men and put pedals.
Yeah. Yeah. The GIFs are very funny.
It's important, man.
Use. It is. Yeah. So if you want to hear us talk about all the gear that we use, and if you want us to call ourselves out every time we say, I feel like blah, 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 then that one's pretty funny. And actually, one of our listeners made a clip reel of that episode every single time we said it. And I wish I had it.
It was a lot.
On call right here.
It was, how many did it amount to? Was it like 20 or something?
Oh, it was a ton. Yeah, and there was like a little scoreboard of which one of us was saying it more. It was really funny. And I wish I had it on call right here, but I don't. But maybe I'll edit it in for the final version of the audio version of this podcast. All right, let's keep it moving here.
Here we go. This is where it all begins, baby. This is the beginning of the fucking end. Episode 23.
Yeah.
And it's when COVID starts. March 22nd for us, at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
yeah.
thinking this was a joke episode where we were like predicting some kind of apocalypse and then it actually happened. But no, this is us actually getting serious about what the situation was for the world and for specifically musicians at the time, where you could go for financial aid if you needed it, what we were planning to sort of do with our time now that we weren't really working anymore, how to sort of take care of yourself, how to plan for the future. And man, we're still living in it. And I mean, a lot of people are resourceful and people have adapted, but it's been a difficult time for us gigging musicians. And there's definitely going to be some relevant information, maybe not on the financial side, because, you know, things have happened with CERB and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we're well past all of that now. But just in terms of taking care of yourself and ideas for how to manage this, because man, like, let's be real, everybody's looking at 2021 as that's when we're going to be able to do stuff again. I don't know about that. I'm hunkering down for another year or two of this, or you know, maybe this is just the decade of COVID where we're just sort of playing catch up with this virus and trying to figure out how to live with it rather than you know,
Get past it.
So
I think it might be the end of the world. I'm still on that. I'm getting into good shape, buying lots of dried beans.
yeah.
What was I going to say? One of the financial things that actually, and I applied for one of these. I don't know if I can say the name of it, and I don't remember the name of it. We were talking about funds.
Yeah.
Instead of CERB, there are funds, or what are they called? Grants?
Yeah, grants. Yeah, financial aid. I use the I think it was called the Unison Benefit Fund.
And you benefited.
When this first hit, I emailed them. I said, "Hey, look, I'm a musician. All my work is gone. I get to do a little bit of work. You have to sort of say, here's how much money I make. Here's how much money I made last year. Here's my tax information. Like, you do have to sort of prove that you work in the field you say you worked." But they were very gracious and very generous, and they said, "Hey, look, here's some money, because this is exactly what this fund is for, and a lot of people are going through hard times right now." So shout outs to Unison, and there's a bunch. Whatever area you're in, wherever you happen to live, you can get some help, and definitely take advantage of these services, because they're out there to help you. Yep.
You need some seed money for our OnlyFans, to really start up the production. You know, you need the cameras and all that stuff, and OnlyFans.
Here's
It's funny.
OnlyFans. Here's a clip from episode 23. My co-host, roommate, eater of rice crackers, Michael Hebbs.
Hey. What's up?
How's that intermittent fasting going for you, Mike?
Actually, I'm eating earlier than I should.
That's what I mean. You haven't eaten at all today. You're starving.
Yeah, I mean, I'm eating half an hour earlier than I should, and I'm eating rice crackers. I don't normally buy rice crackers, but the world's ending, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I miss rice crackers.
bit of a.
But that was pre-apocalypse.
Yeah, we were both in a weird place, I think, for that episode.
Oh yeah.
Episode 24. 24.
Direct response to the situation.
Yeah. So here's where we got into all our teaching was switching, at least all of mine was switching to video lessons. I started streaming. And we both sort of looked at the COVID situation and said, you know what? Like, we're going to figure out what to do. Let's use this time. We've got all this time now. Let's figure out ways to fill it that we're enjoying and that we feel like we could build into, some sort of an income stream somewhere down the road. It doesn't have to be right away, but we've got this time to start developing some more of these quote unquote side hustles. Mike's favorite buzz phrase. Let's have a listen to the clip here, episode 24.
Your market now is not just, who's in the local area? Who can I drive to? Who can come to me? It's literally the world now. You could teach someone in China,
It's true.
like
Yeah.
guitar, or like whatever. You know, like you could teach production lessons pretty much over this too as well. That's a thing to investigate.
Yep.
Like it's gonna be, I think we're, as a community, we're gonna come out with better guitarists, you know, like better social media presence, like better musicians, better singers, more songs. It's only going to be a good thing if we're smart and we're safe about stuff. Don't just get drunk the whole time. Don't go out a bunch. Like, it'll be good. It'll be fine.
Things will get back
And
to
it-
normal, and yeah, hopefully we'll emerge with some new skills and new ways to drive business.
Don't waste this time. I'm like, it's as terrible as this is for the world. I'm like, this time I was like, man, I'm going to have a lot of time to get good at stuff.
Yeah, and I think we still, stand by everything that we just
Yep.
said there, and so if you want a deep dive, and we do get into some gear stuff and some setups, and if you haven't still yet gotten into sort of something like streaming or setting yourself up to do video lessons, I'm still doing them. I know some schools are trying to reopen, but then next thing you know, it's back to stage 2. So I'm personally not comfortable until there's a vaccine really going into a public setting and doing lessons one-on-one. It's just not something that I feel should be happening, and so I'm not participating in it myself. But the video lessons thing has been quite effective, and I've been able to get a lot of students that way, and still do my job, still fulfill my obligations to the students I have through Long and McQuaid. So if you're looking on how to set up your rig to do that, check that episode out. There's also a video that accompanies it that sort of shows
Also,
the rig.
how to up your game though too.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you're video streaming on your fucking cell phone. Like
Yeah.
a goddamn basic bitch.
Yeah. Get a
you know,
webcam.
like,
Yeah.
get a webcam. I got a fucking DSLR. I got my goddamn like guitar. I can do the helix and send my students these dope tones and stuff. And
Yeah.
you got the computer at your disposal. In some ways, the online lessons are way better, and in some ways, they're not. But
Yeah, they have their own
Sure.
challenges, but the fact that like I've gotten all my students into Google Drive, so
Yeah.
now it's like I'm typing out exercises and tabs for them in real time, and they can
Yeah.
be updated, and they've always got access to it. It's not in a binder that they're going to lose with a bunch of
Yes.
torn up pages. Like, so there are some real advantages to it. And yeah, I mean, I think my students are still learning. I'm still learning, and I think it's a really good thing. And yeah, you can, you can do it noise free too, right? Everything can be plugged right in to an interface, and
Yep.
and all they can hear, if my neighbors are annoyed with me, deal with it. But all they can hear is the sound of my voice, right? There's no amps.
Yep.
There's no drumming. There's no super loud stuff. So.
dope.
Yeah. So next one, and I think I kind of got to bounce after this.
Yeah.
So I think what we'll do is split this into 2 episodes. This is perfect because we're on number 25. We're just halfway through.
I like that.
And this was a lighter-hearted episode after a couple of episodes about how messed up everything was in the world. Our favorite podcasts and YouTube channels, we had a lot of time to sink into, whatever you wanted to at that point, because everything was shut down, and we just wanted to give our listeners some cool stuff to chew on if they got sick of our show. However that might be possible, I don't know. But here's the clip from episode 25.
If I met someone on the street and I had to suggest one podcast to them that just got it and was like, they're a little bit off the cuff, but they're very organized too. They release every 3 weeks. They're part of a company that release podcasts. Like, that's what they do.
Okay.
So it's called Reply All.
Okay.
And they do like internet stuff. But yeah, so the one that I recommend, it's called Instagram Thief, and they do a thing called Super Tech Help, where they get a request from someone, like a bizarre request about the internet, something strange happening, and then they fix it. So this girl had her Instagram handle stolen.
Okay.
And the guy, he like messaged her and he's like, don't do anything about this Instagram account. If you try to get it back, I have nudes. I'm going to share them. And so she talks to the guy from Reply All, and they investigate. It's crazy. You
Nice.
got to check it out.
Okay.
It's the best podcast I've ever heard. Reply All,
Reply All.
Instagram Thief.
Sweet. So if you're looking for new stuff to listen to, Reply All and any of the other stuff that we mentioned in that episode are all things that we're listening to, inspire us, that we learn from. I think we mentioned a few YouTube series on audio production, guitar playing and practice. I'm sure we talk about Rick Beato. I'm sure we talk about Produce Like a Pro, Recording Revolution. So check it out, and some off-topic stuff as well. Not all just music stuff, but stuff we enjoyed listening to over the past little while. So, hey, Tim Albertson's in the chat saying congratulations on 50 episodes. Thanks, Tim.
Hey.
Right on, brother. Thanks for being a listener. So, I think we both got stuff we got to get to here. I know Mike's got to teach some lessons. I've got to
Teach the kiddies.
hop on the Music Monday stream and work on some vocals that I'm editing for a couple projects. So we're gonna cut this one here, and we'll come back for part 2 of our 50th episode, just our review of our past episodes and all that stuff. So I want to thank everybody so much for listening. If you've been a listener since day one, thank you so much for your support.
Bless you.
If you're just getting into it now, hopefully there's an episode or 2 in here that you feel you want to go back and check out. And thanks for checking out this one. And I hope you'll look forward to what comes from the future of this fine internet radio program we call the Music Guy Podcast. If you want to support the show, tell your friends about it. Turn them on to us. It's all about word of mouth. That's how these things sort of grow, and ours has been growing at a sort of slow and steady pace, and we're very proud.
I looked at the stats, man.
Yeah,
And like them graphs, they were a slope.
they're going.
It wasn't going that way.
Yeah, they're ticking up, man, and we're very, very proud and thankful for everybody who's been listening and engaging. And another way you can support the show is just by sending an email. Doing what Tim just did, just popping in the chat, being like, "Hey guys, love what you're doing." That means so much to us to get that engagement. And if you'd like to send us a song to play, or if you've got a question or a topic or a suggestion for a guest, if you want to be a guest yourself, hit us up, man. Hit us up.
Be our guest.
Be our guest. Be our guest.
That's the only lyric I know from that.
My
Talking about
vest. Remember that? I know the "See My Vest" song better than the "Be Our Guest" song.
Oh, that's what I remember. Yeah.
Made from real gorilla chest. Yeah, it's so good. The golden age of The Simpsons. So find us online, musicguypodcast.com. You can listen to any one of these episodes that we've talked about there. Our YouTube channel, if you want to watch the video versions, and or some of our video tutorial videos that are available there. I think I said video too many times in that sentence.
Whatever. We got our Instagram clips on there too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you want to see the videos behind these Instagram clips, they're just GIFs.
Yes. And our Instagram, of course, at Music Guy Podcast. I'm at Alro Music on any and all social media platforms. Man, talking today. And Mike is at Bruno the Meek on Instagram, Twitter at Hebs_Michael or Michael _Hebs. I'm not sure which. And and at michaelhebs.net. So thanks, folks, for listening. We'll see you next week with another recap of the next 24 episodes, I suppose. And thanks again for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.
Peace.